This is in response to Dr. Paul Krugman's article in the New York Times on Friday, May 29th, 2015, The Insecure Americans. Now, I want to applaud Dr. Krugman right out front for, again, bringing up this in a timely manner. The economy has shrunk 0.7% in today's news. We have a lot of stuff where our right-wing entertainment complex wants us to be scared of what's going on in terms of ISIS overseas, wants us to be scared about people in the lower half being moochers. But we are a wealthy country. We continue to be a wealthy country. Most of that wealth has been, for the last 30 years, has gone straight to the top. The plight of the poor and the not quite so poor has been terrible. So wages have stagnated, but that's not from the result of the Obama administration. It's from the result of the Bush administration and what Dr. Krugman refers to as the callous obliviousness of the current Republican leadership in both the House and the Senate. And the, let's just call it the right-wing conservative entertainment complex, has been bashing the poor relentlessly year after year, year after year. So it's gotten to the point that a recent poll that was taken indicated that conservatives, by 75% of conservatives, actually feel that the poor have it easy because they get food stamps, because they get Medicaid, and other types of things, that they actually feel this way. And also, conservatives by 85% feel that the poor do not have hard lives. That means that only 15% of conservatives would actually agree that the poor have hard lives. And again, Dr. Krugman refers to this as callous obliviousness because, you see, by the right-wing entertainment complex continually to pound the poor, it makes it easy for the Republicans in this in the House and the Senate to show this callous obliviousness to what's going on, because they know they don't have to cater to the poor, because number one, the poor don't vote a whole heck of a lot, and number two, all they have to do is bash them a lot, and it guarantees them their re-election in their already gerrymandered space. And, you know, Dr. Krugman is basically pointing out that this isn't what he really even wants to talk about. This is what's going on the far right. But what about what's going on at the centrist? What has been going on there for the last 30 years? Well, since there's been so much emphasis on bashing the poor and what's going on the far, far right, that the centrists have even had to take a view that maybe we should be decreasing the amount of money people should get on Social Security because we are now living longer. And, of course, that is a true fallacy, and Dr. Krugman points this out, and statistics have pointed this out for the last 30 years, is that for white people such as myself, my life expectancy is growing, whereas the people at the true bottom, people of color, people who are Latino, people who are black, their life expectancy is actually going down. But we want to raise the Social Security, so we want to take all their money from them, and then they die off before they're eligible for Social Security because they've had to do hard manual labor for years and years, and they have to retire later because white people get to retire later. Because white people's life expectancy is now longer. A very, callous indifference to the plight of the poor. Now, one other thing that Dr. Krugman points out, and again, these things can be easily dealt with if the Republicans in the House and the Senate would make some type of an effort to try and truly help those in need, is that 30% of all Americans have absolutely no retirement whatsoever outside of Social Security. And then many more of those above that 30% just have a meager amount of savings or a retirement plan associated with themselves and will be living off in their retirement off mostly Social Security. And that is a terrible, terrible thing. And the thing that surprised Dr. Krugman the most was the fact that 47% of all Americans have indicated that a bill of just $400 would exacerbate their financial situation very, very, would be very, very, let's just say hectic, very, very difficult to deal with, which means that they've either maxed out on their credit cards, they don't have, or they don't have credit cards, they don't have enough cash. If they have some cash, that would put their reserves at basically zero, or they'll have to borrow from someone else to do that. Now imagine, with a hospital or something, you may get off on paying, let's just say you pay off the hospital on a monthly basis, but if your car goes in to the shop, you got to get that money to get the car out. If the water bursts, well, I shouldn't say if you have a house, but if something goes wrong, you could really be hurting. And the point is about all of this is that America is a very wealthy country. America has the means to correct this, to make education more available for everyone, to make college available for everyone, to make vocational schools available for those, everyone who wants that, to make food insecurity, to drop that from an actual political term, because there are a lot of people in the United States who suffer right now from food insecurity, especially children. And why does that have to happen? Well, as Dr. Krugman points out, from the callous obliviousness, or as Isla would like to say, the callous indifference of our Republican friends in the House and the Senate who do not want to do anything to do that, do not want to raise Social Security, could easily be taken care of, want to decrease Social Security, want to increase the retirement age for Social Security, want to have charter schools, don't want to do anything to help public schools, don't want to provide school, don't want to provide food in school, so that when children go to school, they have enough to eat so that they can concentrate on what they're learning. After school programs, athletic programs, mentoring programs, they don't want to do any of that kind of stuff. They don't want to invest in any type of infrastructure. But this is what's going on, that we have food insecurity, that we have people who are so poor that they can't even afford a $400 unexpected bill. And we want to increase the Social Security. So these are just terrible things. But again, that callous indifference by our friends is what is actually hurting America. It's time to stop.